I was speaking to some friends and we were talking about the skills of the future and what it is that we need to develop within ourselves to bring maximum value to the world. And in the discussion, I thought some really good points came up, and I thought I'd share some of them with you guys because I think it's important to understand what the skill is, why we need to develop it, and how to go about developing it. So if we go back to, let's say, agricultural times, the most important skill that we could have in agricultural times was our brawn, our muscles, our bodies, because we could toil the soil, understand the seasons, and then work in those farms for 16 hours a day to feed ourselves, our families, and hopefully have something to take to the market to trade. Then 200 years ago, when the Industrial Revolution arrived, the most important skill shifted. You see, the factories took over or became our bodies and our muscles and our brawn. And so we couldn't compete with the factories. So we had to develop a new skill called IQ, left brain process-driven thinking. And so we went to school to understand IQ, to bring about this logical thinking that brings about maximum levels of efficiency. And so the production line required economies of scale and efficiency, but the production line was made up of factory parts, robots, and we had to develop a new skill called IQ. And for 200 years, that's what we've been learning, and that's what's really made us very successful. But as we move into the next phase, we start to realize that just like factories replaced our bodies, AI and data are going to be replacing our intelligence. So left brain, logical, process-driven thinking is exactly what automation loves, because automation is all about pattern recognition and pattern repetition. And so this idea that IQ needs to be replaced with something new is what gets most people worried, because it's a skill that we don't really know that well. And the skill is intuition. And most people think that intuition is some airy-fairy hippie idea of when you're meditating, or some people say that it's gut feel. And they can be both and all of those, and they can be more. And so for me, what intuition is this idea of four things. And what we most think what intuition is we think that it's a gut feel. And that's true, it is a gut feel. But often our gut feel is tainted by traumatic memories. So an example is, imagine you had a traumatic experience with a black dog when you were 5 years old. And from then on, your gut feel is that all black dogs or even all dogs are dangerous. And so what happens is that what we need to do is we need to develop the wisdom, the maturity to heal traumatic pasts, traumatic memories, so that our gut feel is almost clean and really enthused about the future, not dragging emotional baggage from the past. The second characteristic of intuition is curiosity and fascination, making decisions based on what makes us excited and what is really our highest excitement, our highest level of fascination isn't something that school gave us any credit for or something that we were ever told to do. We were told to follow the process of developing left brain IQ, and some people were really good at it and some people weren't. So curiosity is the second. Third is imagination, because imagination is almost exactly the opposite of absolute certainty, which is what the Industrial Revolution required, was absolute outcomes and a certainty and an addiction to certainty. And imagination is almost like rethinking the possibility of the future coming from a clean past of wisdom based on fascination, and then the process of experimentation being the fourth. And so you go through a process of wisdom, which is cleaning your past. Curiosity and fascination is making decisions with your heart and your right brain. Then utilizing imagination to develop a newer version, a more exciting version of the future ahead of us. And then to experiment and bring it into action so that you can continuously, in the process of curiosity, fascination, imagination, action, clean the past, curiosity, fascination, action, you now develop the sixth sense, this intuitive idea of how to develop the sort of process for the future. It's not an easy process because it's not something we've ever been taught. It's something we need to develop. And just like the farmers most probably thought it was bewildering to learn IQ, it is now kind of bewildering to learn intuition. But it's something I've been practicing quite a lot, and this gut feel that we can develop, the purer, the cleaner, the more energized it is, the more successful we'll become in the future. Hope this helped. Ciao from Cape Town.